Okay, so let's start. People will come and they'll join. Okay, so let's start. So, everyone, thank you for joining. This is the third chapter of Journey to Star series. So, a bit about series. I started this series, I guess, 3 weeks back. So, with an aim to bridge the gap between experts and folks like us. So, we should get an opportunity to learn directly from them. Even they want to share their knowledge. So, it's a that platform. And the best part of this platform is every day the attendees decide the topic for the next session. Okay, so I hope you all are safe. Then a bit about me. I'm currently working as a ServiceNow consultant, and I love to explore security ops. Maybe that passion for security ops has made me a Google Hall of Famer. But I feel that biggest achievement of mine in my short career is the support that I'm getting. So we'll learn together and we'll grow together. So let me introduce our guest for today, Shuvjit. Hi Shuvjit, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Shuvjit, your voice is breaking. I mean, it's kind of. Mhm. I'm not getting any voice. Anyone? No. Devashish, can you hear Shuvjit? I mean,
No. I think Shubhjit, you can reconnect. There is some disturbance in the audio.
so one news. Initially, we planned for integration hub as well as VS Code, but at the very last moment, the Sugandh is not able to join. He is not feeling well, so we have restricted it to VS Code itself. And what we will do, we'll take on the questions if you have any in Q&A session, and we'll answer them over email. We'll pass it on to Sugandh and we'll get a response from him, and we'll definitely have a session on integration hub soon, maybe as soon as he is well. Okay, Shuvjit, are you back? Hello. Hello. So let me call him and ask him what's the issue. These technical glitches. He rejoined. Yeah, Shuvjit.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yep. Perfect.
Great. Yeah.
Out and clear.
Hey, hi everyone. So my name is Shuvjit Mishra. I'm working with ServiceNow since December 2017 as a principal product manager. And overall, I've got 12 years of experience, and I have worked across product management and business analysis across ad tech, mobile, and fintech domains. So that's about me.
That's great, man. So, Shujit, as I mentioned, today we are just having VS Code, so
Right.
there's no integration hub.
Yeah.
So, I'll pass on the control to you.
Sure.
Just share your screen and enlighten us with your VS
Sure.
Code stuffs.
Yes, happy to do so. Uh, so can I start sharing?
Shujit, you can share your screen. I
Yeah,
can't.
just a minute.
Okay.
Can you guys see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Just a minute. So yeah, thanks to for this, and I'll start up with. So we have launched this ServiceNow extension for VS Code, and this is the official version from ServiceNow, and we launched it on November 8, 2019. And as I'm talking, we have got close to around 11,300 installs of this extension. So primarily, I will give you a background of why we did it. So currently, most of the developers who are working on ServiceNow application use our web-based IDE, which is Studio. And there was feedbacks coming in because not very everyone was happy to use Studio. The reasons were like the performance issue. You always need to be connected to the internet because it was a web-based IDE. And if someone has to compare the current Studio with ID like VS Code, there were a lot of features which were missing. So we thought of addressing those challenges and cater to the feedbacks which were coming in through this extension. So the safe harbor notice. So I will be covering all these overview, why VS Code extension, for whom we have built this, why the extension should be used, and key takeaways. So why VS Code extension? So as per Stack Overflow surveys which have been done in 2018-19, VS Code is the most popular development tool which is used by the developer community, and also market competitive needs, because as I mentioned, there were feedbacks coming from certain segments of developers who build ServiceNow application that they were not very happy with the existing web-based IDE which was there in the form of Studio. See, in order to address these two uh, points, which is the tool of choice as well as the market competitive needs, we came up with the VS Code extension. So why VS Code? So I think these were the predominant reasons why we selected VS Code. It is developed by Microsoft, lightweight source code editor, and we ServiceNow has a very strong partnership with Microsoft, and we wanted to leverage that partnership. It combines simplicity of source code editor with powerful debugger developer tooling. You also have debugger, which is pretty useful while someone is developing applications. You have IntelliSense in the form of code completion, which I think everyone will agree that it is very useful when someone is doing application development. Key features like syntax highlighting, code snippets. It allows integration with source control, highly customizable. And I think the last but not the least, best option for working on web components. So this is basically tied to a story. So we started with app extension where you will be able to build apps, and slowly we are also looking at how the VS Code extension can be used for component development also going forward. And that was the predominant reason we shortlisted VS Code. So, so on the left hand side, we have the script editor on the platform, which I've spoken to, but not everyone liked it. So we came up with the script editor in the form of VS Code extension. So what it does, it provides more options for scripting to our developer community. And for whom we have built it, this is for any application developer who wants to build ServiceNow application using VS Code. So why we should be using it? It is the official extension from ServiceNow. So we here we review all the feedbacks which are coming through community. I personally reached out to many developers in form of LinkedIn and try to get their feedback of what is working, what is not working if they are using ServiceNow VS Code extension. We have a dedicated team who basically works on this extension. It helps in offline development. So what it means, you don't have to be always connected to the instance. You basically download your application and using into that extension, you work offline, and then once you think that you are done with all your changes, you can sync it back to the instance. It has got IntelliSense, which helps in development. You don't have to basically type everything. It helps in the auto completion feature, where it basically understands what exactly are the functions you are typing, and accordingly it will prompt you for the uh, uh, related functions. Then it has got linting. So IntelliSense and linting in the VS Code extension is same as what is available on Now platform. So we have one team which basically works on the on platform capabilities, which is the script editor, and there is another team which I work with, which owns the VS Code extension. So we know what exactly is there on the platform and what needs to be built on the off platform, so that the entire objective is going forward. We want to have parity between the on platform and off platform capabilities. Then execution of background scripts. So the extension also allows you to use background script and two-way sync. So it doesn't matter whether you are working on the instance or the extension. So we allow two-way sync. So basically whatever changes you are making, you can sync it either ways. So type of application supported. So when you basically set this up and you click on create project, you will get two options: custom applications and store applications. But I know developers who also use packages and plugins, which can be enabled through settings. But the reason we did not provide it upfront is because I mean, I've spoken to multiple developers, and also I know how the workflows work. So most of the developers from the external world will not be using packages and plugins much. So these are the two applications which basically the developers work on, and this is what we are providing. Then you can work on multiple projects and multiple scopes. So say if you are a developer who is working on two different applications which are present in two different instances, so that is also supported. You can basically authenticate yourself to two different instances, and once you are there, you can basically work on both the instances through the VS Code extension as per your needs. As I mentioned, we have platform linting, so we are using ESLint as the default linting tool for the platform, and the same is available in the VS Code extension. So we have IntelliSense. IntelliSense is available for Glide APIs and Jelly tags. Then we have background script, which can be executed by selecting the desired text from JS file. Then support for global. I think this is a feedback which has been coming from multiple people whom I have spoken to. So we do have support for global, and I would like to take your feedback on this. So I will tell you how exactly this works now. So so there's a precondition which is basically needs to be satisfied if you want to work on your global files. So currently in the extension, what a developer needs to have is at least a scoped application or a stored application or a package or plugin, and that is how you start your create project flow, the workflow in the extension. And then if you have to specifically work on global files, if you have the file search functionality which is used for working on global files. So what it does is you basically configure which are the files you would like to work on, the global files, and you do a search for them. So when it is so when the search results come up, they basically are downloaded to. So if you have seen on the left hand side, we have two folders. One is the SRC, which is a source folder where the applications will be getting installed, and there we have something called a scratch folder. So scratch folders are where your global files will get downloaded, and you can always work on them. And so this is what we had done for the version 1.0, and after that we have made 4 releases. So how it happened was we are following a monthly cadence, but again it all depends. It is not a confirmed or a sure thing that we will be releasing every month, but if we see that there are a lot of features which we have planned which needs to be uh, put out there so that the developer community can use, or if we see there are a lot of feedbacks which has come in and we need to work upon that, so that is where we go with our monthly releases. So after November, uh, in March 2020 is when we launched version 1.1. So in this, what happened was project type updates. So as I mentioned, initially we had everything like store application, scoped application, packages and plugins. But from the data which we gathered, and on having spoken to developers, we got a feedback that packages and plugins are something that not everyone uses. So we thought that it would be confusing for our users to basically put it upfront. So what we did was we basically, as I had shown in the screenshots, we only have the scoped application and stored application upfront. But having said that, it is not that you cannot work on packages and plugins if that is what you use for your day-to-day work. You can always go to the settings and configure it. The packages and plugins will be enabled for you. Then files downloaded through file search can now be edited and synced, and this is what I was talking about. So all the global files uh, I think there are a lot of developers who work only on global files. This is for them. So what you do is basically you download your file. The file will get downloaded into your Scratch folder, and then you will be able to work on the global files, and you can edit them and you can sync them back to the instance. Then the documentation link was fixed, so we had minor glitch around the documentation, so we have fixed those in version 1.1. Now version 1.2 was released in April 2020, so that was mostly the objective was to enable telemetry to get insights into how the users are using the extension. But having said that, if you are not very comfortable sharing your data or how you use the extension, you can always decide to disable the telemetry. But the major objective of having telemetry enabled for this extension was to get more insights, so that we continue to know which particular areas are the ones which are mostly used by the developers and which are the uh, less used. So what we do is, so this basically helps in prioritizing features around, around the ones which are more widely used by the developers. So this will also ensure that you get more and more features and more capability around those areas, and it will and we will continue to add value for our users. Now, monthly release 1.3, which happened in May. So, we have started supporting short instance URLs. So, say you have like, say for me, like Shuvjit Mishra .servicenow.com. So, you just need to type HTTPS Shuvjit Mishra, and it will just take it will automatically append the servicenow.com part to the URL and take you to the instance. So, you don't have to remember all the things. It's just the basic or probably I can say the keyword or the unique part of the URL which you remember, and then rest of the things we will be taking care of it. Then we have developed keyboard shortcuts. So you have a lot of different commands which the developers will be using. So we have developed the keyboard shortcuts for those also. Then we have provided real-time progress bar indicator. So as a team we thought that there were certain functions like import application sync or file search which was taking time. So right now we have
अभी अभी फिर चेक करो रात को भी मैं उठा था
so right now what happens is we have a progress bar indicator which will tell you exactly, say there are like you are doing a sync operation and it involves 100 files, right? So it will basically tell you how many files have been synced and how many are remaining, like two of 100, 3 of 100. It will continuously keep telling you. So these are the number of files which have already been synced during the sync operation. We have also done UX changes to the file search. We are trying to make it as simple as possible for the users to use our file search functionality, which I think is pretty key because most of the users, as I mentioned, work on the global files, and this is where you will be able to basically leverage the extension to work on your global files. Then we have also made changes to the file type picker UX improvements. So merged file group and file types hierarchy list are now merged into one flattened list. So we are trying to make it as simple as possible for the users to use our extension. So the priority file types will be displayed on the top for easy discoverability. The list can be filtered either by the file group, file type, or the table name. So these were the changes which we made in the month of May, version 1.3. 1.4 was a pretty big release with a lot of features which I think is pretty useful for everyone. And I think Andrew had written a blog which I had shared on LinkedIn also. So what are the changes which have happened as part of version 1.4? So version 1.4 had addition of new utility commands where you can open a script file in platform, you can preview files in instance, copy SysID to clipboard, revert file changes to instance version. So these were the new utility commands which were added. Then we had background script on our enhancement. So this again is driven by user feedbacks which were coming through the community. Ability to choose the desired application scope when running scripts in background. So now the user will be able to select the scope in which the user wants to run the background script. Then dedicated background scripts folder for creating and executing background scripts. One-click execution of scripts in background scripts folder using the toolbar icons. We have removed the run background script global option. So initially we had only global option, which was not very pretty much used, and there was feedbacks coming in that where the user wanted to basically select the scope in which they wanted to run the background scripts. Then update set for the scratch. Users can now choose update set for files in scratch folder. I think this is a one again pretty big change which we have done. I would like to call out. So previously for the scratch folder, you were not able to select the update set in which you wanted to work on. Right now, so this was again I think the feedback coming from Andrew that the user basically look for selecting or choosing the update set in which they want to work on. So this was done. Then we also have enabled sync to default update set in scratch is disallowed. And then we have now Jelly IntelliSense improvement with support for multiple tags in a single line and single tag span across multiple lines. That we have made UX changes, which is like improved UX of the file search results, improved UX of conflicting files GUI screen, and then we have also made changes in the bulk sync support for Scratch. So these are the various changes, or I can say additions, which have been done to the extension post our going live in November 2019. So we right now have like 5 versions which we have basically worked on, or the 5 releases which have happened post November 2019. So these are the next steps. I would request, if you are using the extension, great. We would love to hear your feedbacks around how the extension, what is exactly working for you, what is not working for you, how can we make it even better, which will solve your problems. So this is, and for the people who have not used the extension in this call, I would urge you to go to this extension and basically use the extension. We also have a community page which is dedicated to the VS Code extension. So you have any questions, you have any feedback for us, you can provide it in the link. And this is a demo which I had created. I think it's slightly old, but still then it's very useful for people who have not used the VS Code extension. Please, you can go and see the demo where I've spoken about the various functionalities, capabilities in the VS Code extension. And also to add to that, in K20 we had these 3 sessions for the VS Code extension. So this was a theater session, this was a CreatorCon breakout session, and I think this is one where you will find it most useful, which was a workshop. It was like typically 100 minutes workshop, and we have tried to demonstrate each and every use case uh, associated with the features or capabilities of the VS Code extension. So I think with that, I would like to close, and probably we can start the discussions.
Thank you, Shuvjit. So that was really nice. Actually, we have one question from Kumar.
Yeah,
So
sure.
Kumar, you can just come up and put on your question.
Hi Sujit.
Hey, hi Kumar.
I want to know, is there any cost involved to enable the VS Code?
No, there is a VS Code. Kumar is absolutely free, and the
Okay.
extension also is free. I mean, I do not see any cost until unless there is a restriction in your organization to use VS Code, and that is one of the feedback which I have heard from people. But
Okay.
but there is absolutely no cost involved for using VS Code and
So
this
for a
extension.
developer's point of view, it is very great for us to use it.
Right.
So that's why I asked.
So you are using it, Kumar, right now, or you have not
No,
started?
no, no. I am not using it, but since you demonstrated all these things, I am planning to. I will go for
Great.
definitely.
No, what I would like you to do is after this call, please go to the VS Code extension, VS Code marketplace, and install this extension and start using this.
So can I enable it on my personal instance as
Yeah,
well?
yeah, you can.
Okay.
There are a lot of
Okay.
developers who are actually using it on their personal instance also.
Okay. 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 Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Okay, so Kumar, I am using it. So Shuvjit,
Okay.
few questions from my side.
Sure.
So you said while working for global files, we download those files. Okay.
Right.
So how multiple people will work? Suppose me and you are working on that file. I
Right.
downloaded it, but
Right.
then other person updates it. Then I'll be having the previous version. So is there a way to manage it?
Uh, Okay, so let me tell you how I see this. So, what you are, the use case you mentioned, Dhruv, I see is more about team development or collaboration, right? And the charter which my team has is only around uh, the I would say code and design and debugging, right? So that particular area, I think we will not be able to touch. So what I have demonstrated is, so basically, at the same time, if two developers are working, it is difficult. How I see, the only way I can envision this and the way I will try to solve is basically you have to interact offline.
Okay. And that linting feature, is it similar to ServiceNow? I mean, what we
Yes,
get in the background scripts?
yes. It's exactly the same.
And there's one tool we all use as a IDE,
Right.
that is Explore, right?
Okay.
That is in the system. So,
Right. Okay.
so
Yeah, Dhruv, please.
yeah, so I just want to know what's the difference. I mean, what added advantage that VS Code gives.
Okay. So I will tell you there. So I will divide this reasons into two parts. One is which I can share. The second is which I cannot share. Okay. So yeah. So coming to the ones which I can share, I think everyone would agree that VS Code, I think, is the most popular tool, right? And among the developers who would like to build applications, that was primary reason which we decided on VS Code. And the other reason is it gives you that and the full-fledged IDE like capability. The Explorer, I think I've seen few videos on that, but I would not call it a full-fledged IDE, right?
Yeah, it's not full-fledged, but
Right. Again, there were a lot of things which I cannot disclose. So uh, we are planning to build few more additions, which I am sure everyone on this call would love to. But the unfortunate part is I cannot share it at this point of time. Okay, and we have some big plans. So if you ask me, I see it, the VS Code extension scaling up in a big way 2 years from now. And I don't think the scalability feature or scalability capability will be there in Explorer. I think that
mhm.
is how I see is the biggest difference between the VS Code extension which we are building and Explorer, which you mentioned about.
Okay. And any thoughts on, I mean, I was discussing this in November or January as well
Sure.
regarding VS Code.
Hmm.
So I got some feedback regarding multi-factor authentication. I mean, it's currently not supported in VS Code
Right.
extension. So any plans on that, or is it something that we are messing up as developers?
Hey Dhruv, thanks for bringing that up. So I will tell you, even the same thing I have been hearing from multiple developers. I love to interact with my users. So this is a feedback which I have received through my LinkedIn chats. It has come through the ServiceNow community page which we have for VS Code extension, and I would love to share that we prioritize this as the top need of the extension, and very shortly. I will not disclose the date, but you can make it out very shortly. It will be available in VS Code extension. So
Okay.
what you have to do is,
Hmm.
it will be in combination with the OAuth. So basically, you in the OAuth when you start, right, you have that client ID and client secret. You have to basically configure it, and then once the MFA is enabled on your instances, you can easily use it as like the way you are doing it. So here I had a question for the group. Now, you guys use OAuth in the extension currently?
I'm not using it, but it's like people, various organization wants their developer environment to be, that much compact or.
Right. But Dhruv, what I wanted to understand as a feedback from this group is if anyone is using the MFA, right, at this point of time, among the people who are already like present in the meeting, can can anyone tell me uh, the documentation which is available? I would like to get a very honest feedback here. Is the documentation around how you can enable OAuth for your extension, VS Code extension? Is it very useful? It's not very clear. I wanted a feedback around that. Anyone can help me with the feedback?
So Rahul and Easton has said no. So
So
Rahul,
no, I mean they do not use the OAuth, or the documentation is
Yeah.
not very useful.
No, we are not using OAuth. We are using
Okay.
basic authentication.
Right. So basic. So was it Rahul?
Yeah, Rahul
Yeah,
here.
yeah, Rahul. So Rahul, basic is pretty clear, right? I mean, it's very
Yes,
seamless.
yeah. It is seamless.
Yeah. Okay. So what I have been trying to understand is, so I got a feedback, I think on LinkedIn, saying that the OAuth documentation which is currently there is not very clear for the users to understand and set this up. So I actually wanted to get a pulse on that, if everyone in this group feels the same, or it is easier. So what I've been doing is I've been personally going and thinking that I don't know anything about OAuth and just trying to go through the document and do it step by step. Okay. Honestly, didn't know we had an option to. Okay, it's done. So if you go, when you set this up, right? So first you have to set up your workspace, and then you have to set up your project, correct? Now at that point of time, when the authentication piece comes up, right? Which kind of authentication you would like to use? So along with basic, you will also see the OAuth.
yeah.
So I'm not sure, when he said that maybe it isn't socialized
Uh,
enough.
yeah. So
Yeah, please.
okay. I mean, by default it takes basic, so I just hit enter, and maybe that's why it is missed out. So
Oh, it's so that might be the reason, because previously you
right,
might have used basic only, but it
right.
gives you both the options. If you want to try
Right.
with some other way, fresh way of starting, then I think both the options will be available.
Correct. Now that reminds me.
Yeah,
Yeah. I do remember there was an option below that.
yeah.
Cool.
So anyone who's basically who has a MFA at their organization and they are not able to use the extension because of this gap.
Uh, I'm not sure with that, who is using that, but I had the question, so I just asked it.
Yeah. That's a good question. Even I wanted to talk about that, Dhruv, because very shortly you will have that support. But what I am trying to understand is, if as I mentioned, the OAuth documentation, is it good enough, or we need to improve on that? So I'm looking into it personally. So that is where I wanted to get some feedback. Which particular aspect of that documentation was not clear, if any? Uh, no worries. So other part I wanted to check was, how many of you actually work only on the global files? You don't have any scoped application, you don't have any store application, you don't have packages or plugins, only global files.
My guess, if you are doing so, just put on the chat. I mean,
Yeah, maybe in the chat you can just type, and then probably we can. I really want to talk about that.
so global files is something like, if someone is working on ITSM, so he must be working on that global file.
Right. Yeah. Good. People have started writing. Yeah. Please. Whoever wants to add, please go and add it. So I have got response from Edstone. I've got a response from Andrew. I've got response from Mohan. Anyone else? Hey guys, please understand that we have to work together to improve our the product, right? So I would need candid feedback from you. We have a response from Aziz. Shubham has responded. Oh, I see a lot of people now responding. Good. Hari Shankar has responded. Okay, let's start. So when you start, maybe any one of you can maybe take me through that flow, or just I would like try to understand more around that. So when you work on global, how do you work currently?
So I can start probably. So I mean, personally, I use the VS Code editor for my personal instance. I'm just
Right,
playing around with it because it's very new to me.
right.
But officially, at my workplace, I use the ServiceNow platform. I mean, I go into individual client scripts or business rules or anything that I want to manipulate. I do it on the platform directly.
Okay.
But to be honest, with VS Code, from this meeting, while you were explaining, I realized that we could download global files.
Correct.
and work on it. So I just tested it, and I think that works better for me. So I'll probably start trying it out and then moving to my
Great.
kind of socialize this with my fellow developers
Sure, sure, sure.
as well. So that's something new to me as well. So
Hey, great.
I will.
I would like each one of you to be ambassador for me and go and talk to your fellow developers as Inston mentioned and talk to them about benefits of using this extension.
So,
Yep.
just one thing over
Yeah.
here, Shuvjit,
Yeah.
Andrew is saying the approach that even I follow, like create an update set, work on the requirement, and then just migrate that update set.
Sure. So, Andrew, I would like to understand from you. So, if there is a case where you do not have, so right now, the limitations or constraint, I would say, of the extension is you need to have a scoped application store or a stored application or a package or plugin to work on the global files. So, without that, it is difficult. So I mean, if I ask you to break up your work, how much of that is only around the global files?
Hey, Andrew here.
Yeah.
I probably do like maybe 50 or 60% of my work is global.
Okay.
The other problem that I have, like, I certainly downloaded the VS Code when it was announced back
Right.
last year, and
Right.
I've tested it, but I've never actually implemented it as a part of my work.
Okay.
Because I find what I do is flow designer integrations and like things that are not just a business rule or a client script or
Right.
like a single piece of code. I
Right.
will
Right.
jump through the platform. I'll be doing things here and there and there and there. And the workflow that I found in the VS Code extension wasn't sort of conducive for doing a lot of little different things to get a job done. Like if you're creating a catalog item, you have to make an item, you make all the variables. That's not something you can do
Right.
from an IDE.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. Then my next question would be probably what is not working well if someone is using the VS Code extension? What changes? The one point I have already mentioned is support for MFA. Apart from that, what else do you guys think that should be there in the extension which is not there, which will help you to use the extension more in your day-to-day work?
I guess for me, if I could create an
Yeah.
update set in global scope and then download a particular, say, script include or file that I'm working on, make the changes, save it in that global update set, and have it update back to the platform. And like I said, I haven't tried that myself in the the application since it was released, so it may have been one of the updates that I've missed. But
Uh,
that's sort of like if I get someone that calls up and says, "Oh, this particular thing isn't working," and I know that's part of a script include, if I could fix that in VS Code, that would be good. By creating the update setting global, updating the script include, publishing that back to the platform, and testing it there.
So, Andrew, this is possible. Like again, the precondition will be if you have a scoped or a stored application in VS Code extension. This is very much possible right now.
Okay, cool. So I'll have to give that a go.
Yeah, please do try and let me know if it works for you or not. The
Sure.
only use case which I'm like trying to discuss or I'm trying to get a feedback is where users do not have any scoped application or a stored application. Then the VS Code extension usability becomes a challenge. So I am looking for that kind of users who only works on the global files.
I mean, global files, if you see it as this thing, right? So it's now is a no code or low code platform. So we have to get into the platform. It's like we on VS Code we can work on those files that we know that
Right,
this particular business rule is working for this. Then we
right,
can update that.
right,
But since we have to go in the platform and search, then
right,
it's like as an additional step if I am going on VS Code.
right. Okay. So what I was thinking through is if someone is like has a use case where we don't have any scoped or a stored application, right? You only work on say the global files as we are discussing yesterday about the ITSM and the discovery apps, right? So in that case of scenario, I was just thinking how we can basically enable the VS Code extension for that kind of use cases also. So you don't have to basically go and create project, but you can directly go into the file search and then you search for the specific files you want to work on, make those changes, and then sync it back to the platform using
So
update sets.
in that case, is it possible? I'm not sure whether it's possible or not.
Yeah, that is
Uh,
what we are evaluating right now. So I was looking for like,
no, no, no.
yeah,
It,
tell me.
so I'll tell you how I go in the platform. Suppose if I'm working on change management, okay, so there is any action getting performed, and I see that this is possible through BR only or through client script only.
Okay.
So I go on that thing. Suppose I go on the business rule. I will first filter based on the table, then on condition or based on script. So is it possible if to search BRs or script includes client script based on the table, not the script includes, but the business rules that on which table they are running or conditions if I can search. I mean, searching the global files based on the table name, not on the BR name, or based on the condition, not on the BR name.
I
Okay.
agree, Dhruv. I think that would be a good thing to have because we wouldn't really remember the names of the stuff that we've written. So we used to do. I also usually use the tables and then filter out what I need to see.
Got it. So you are looking for searching business rule and script include based on the table, right?
Not the script includes, but business rules, client script, because script includes are not based on the table.
Right. Okay. Client scripts. Okay. I will take this as a feedback and then see what best can be done.
Or
Okay.
it can be like the way we do, like suppose incident we want to search for anything, so we will go for incident.config. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
it will give us a list of everything, whether it's a flow, business rule, anything. So if
Right.
that functionality we can have, like we select a table, we'll see all the configuration files for that table,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a BR or, and from there we can select boss this things like I need to work on this. I'll
Mm-hmm.
download it and work on it.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Taking this feedback and we will evaluate what best can be done here. Any more feedback which you want that extension should have, which is right now not there, and will help
Yeah,
you in your day-to-day work?
yeah, Shuvjit, I have one query.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shuvjit, is it possible that multiple developers can update the one script include in the different functions?
Multiple developers updating script include in the this again. I think that is where the challenge is. Like on the platform also, you are talking about dev at scale or collaboration, which is owned by another team. So our charter basically doesn't include that, and that is what I was telling Dhruv also. So the way I see it is basically you have to talk to the other developers offline and then sync your work.
Yeah, so in that case, Shuvjit, the one feedback you can take, like in the SPN or the TFS, we have a feature like the checked in or checked out. So
Hmm.
that feature will help rather to connect to offline. The developer will know that this file has been checked in. We
Got it.
need to uh, that's that can be included. I think.
Yeah, got it. Sure. So it is kind of a version control I see, right?
Yeah, version control.
Yeah, sure.
So in other platforms, it's like if I am working on a file, so
Mm-hmm.
it is locked for me.
Right,
As long as I am not updating it, other person won't be able to download it.
right, right, right,
So
right.
that's kind of thing.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
The thing is that in the platform itself, it will show that like Dhruv is updating. So
Right,
it will
right,
be
right,
very
right,
difficult in the VS Code.
right,
It
right, right.
won't say that the Dhruv is updating something in the script.
Yeah, we have plans around version control on the platform. Let's see how we can like marry both these things together.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So anything else? Any feedback for the VS Code extension?
So I just want to know about a bit more about that short instance thing, short
Mm-hmm.
instance URL.
Right, right.
So I haven't checked it. What's in
So
that?
it's basically so Dhruv, this is like how it will work. You don't have to type the full URL. You just start with the say the ServiceNow.com part doesn't need to be typed in by the user. It will be automatically picked up by the extension.
Okay, and is it like if sometimes I type it and sometimes I don't type it, it will automatically detect, or is it like a kind of a restriction that I just need to type on the instance name?
No, no, it is entirely up to you. If you type the specific part, it will automatically take the rest, the ServiceNow.com part. Or if you want, you can type the full one also. It is like making the life of your users easy, that you don't have to remember all the URLs of your instances.
Okay,
Okay.
that's great.
Okay. If there are not any more questions around the VS Code extension, I would like to use the rest 9 minutes for any feedback. Okay, first of all, I also own the script editor and a debugger, script debugger on the platform. So any specific feedbacks around that also I would love to hear from you guys.
I guess we should plan another session for debugger.
Okay.
I mean,
I would love to have a session on debugger also.
okay,
Yeah,
man.
so in the last meetup, we have discussed few points in the script
Right,
editor.
right. So let me tell you, there is this very good thing which we are planning in the debugger. So I will not talk more, but that's a very exciting thing. I think every one of you will love it. So I think that is what I was looking for. The feedbacks actually help us build better products, right? So that is what I wanted to understand. If there are any specific feedbacks around the debuggers editor, I would surely look into those.
I've got something about the script debugger.
Sure.
In the Paris release, there's the console.
Correct.
When I heard about that, I was excited, and then I upgraded my PDI recently, and I was testing it, and I noticed it doesn't actually start the console until you are into an active debug session.
That's right.
I was really hoping that opening the debugger, even if you're not in an active session, would give you an interactive console, sort of like your Chrome console. So you could essentially not get rid of, but use it instead of the explore dialog to test your scripts in a background script sort of situation without needing to run a script to get at it.
Okay. Okay. I think, yeah, as you mentioned, you need an active debugging session, Andrew. The reason we have developed in that fashion is because background scripts are not supported in this console. This is only purely for the server-side scripts,
Yeah.
which you basically run in through your debugger, right? And that is the way it is intended to be. But when you said that I mean, when you say that without a debugging session, you want the console, what specific use case would it be? Only for the background scripts, right?
Essentially, I guess, yeah, like testing server-side code on the fly.
Okay. I think I will take this as a feedback and let's see what or how we can do it. So background scripts, I think internally is owned by some other team. I have to find that. But yeah, I will take this feedback.
Yeah, I guess if you're using the VS Code extension, you can do those background scripts on the fly a bit easier. But yeah, like I'd really hoped that you could have a console and you could declare variables and then call those variables similar to the Chrome developer console.
Yeah, sure.
The other thing I had, if nobody else does, I've used some virtual agent and flow designer and noticed that the script editors in those different applications have different features to the script editors for background scripts and client scripts and other platform things. Is there going to be an upgrade to bring everything to parity?
Just a minute. I'm just taking a note, Andrew.
Sure.
So what's the difference in that? I mean, I might have missed that. But
So I found out sort of by mistake that in Flow Designer script editor, you can actually hold down, I think, Command on Mac and add cursors into different places. So you can, click on 3 or 4 different lines and then type the same thing at four different places. But you can't do that in the platform script editor.
So that that multiple update, multiple replace kind of thing that we use
Yeah,
in other editors.
Got it. Andrew, the feedback was that the behavior of various script editors are different on the platform, right? You gave example for the flow designer. You gave an example from virtual agent editor and
Yep.
the editor on the platform, right? Yeah, I think that's a very valid point.
And
Yeah,
that multiple update feature, if we get that on extension, that would be, I guess it would be there, right? That is a
yeah. That's
Visual
there out of
Studio,
VS Code.
Visual Studio core feature.
Yep.
Which is this multiple?
Multiple
Multiple
style.
replace, I guess.
Okay, the multiple selection thing, right?
Yep.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I think I've also noticed that the IntelliSense kind of auto-complete works better in Flow Designer and Virtual Agent script blocks than it does in the platform ones.
Okay, sure.
If that's the case, I mean, that features are different. I mean, it might be a possibility that those script editors are different. Is it possible, or is it like the same script field?
It looks the same, and as far as I'm concerned, as a developer, like I would expect that if it's a script editor in platform, it behaves the same no matter where you are.
Exactly.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. I think these are some very good feedbacks.
No worries.
So, do we have any more questions over here? Anyone? If that's the case, then so after the call, I'll trigger one email that will have all the links as well as this presentation that Shuvjit has given, and I'll upload the recording of this session. So I'll provide that link as well. So in case you have missed, or if any of your friends have missed that, then you can share. And I was to share that $25 voucher with the person who refers the most, but I guess that won't work because the person who were there, they haven't joined. So Shuvjit, I give you this opportunity. So you feel that who has given the best feedback or best question, that will you can give it to him.
That's a difficult role to play every time.
I'm saving my side, man.
Yeah, yeah, I'm putting me in trouble. I think with the kind of feedbacks coming in from Andrew, I think I would pick Andrew.
Fine, then and you have won a voucher of $25.
Awesome. Thank you.
One more thing is for the users in this call who are already there and using VS Code extension, please do write a review on the VS Code marketplace based on your experience. What are you liking? What you are not liking? We would love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, man, share that link. I'll just put on those links as well in the email itself so that they have a
Oh,
direct link. Okay.
okay, all these three links, right? Let me just okay. Let me do one thing, Dhruv. Let me put this in the chat. Will it be helpful?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll copy it from here, or you can just WhatsApp that to me. Just have a look.
Yeah, sure. I think I will WhatsApp you. Okay.
Okay. Fine then.
Yeah, sure. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone for the feedbacks. Loved doing this session. So maybe next time, group, we can have a session for debug and editor.
Yeah, man. But next time we are planning with
No, no,
for.
no, no, not next time. Maybe sometime in 2020. Okay. Let me
Okay.
rephrase that.
So I'll tell you, Delhi meetup is coming most probably next week or next to next week.
Okay.
So we can. It's also going to be virtual, so we can take that up there as well.
Sure.
I'll
Yeah.
send the link for Delhi meetup as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't matter whether I am presenting or not, but I would be joining that for sure. Okay.
You have to present, man. I'll talk with Gaurav that
Sure, sure.
Shuvjit
Okay.
would be giving that on
Sure.
script editor.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye bye. Catch you later.